Have you ever caught yourself sitting completely still, staring into a glowing screen and realized that you've become an audience member in your own life? We look at other people's stories, their beautiful travels, their curated happiness, and without noticing, we misplace our own minutes. Today, I want to talk about how we accidentally trade our real, messy, beautiful existence for a digital illusion. And more importantly, how we can reclaim our energy, step through that glass and start living at full capacity. Personally, I had to ask myself these hard questions because I realized I was drowning in the exact same trap. Why did I stop being a mere audience member in my own life? For the exact same reason I stopped being just a consumer, a certified copycat, or a professional seeker of that special, exclusive kind of happiness that no one else supposedly has. Ironically, I'm currently writing a book about happiness, but today let's talk about something else, although come to think of it, it's all connected. I'm writing this book precisely because there is no secret, exclusive happiness. There is only ordinary, beautiful, human happiness. And to find it, you don't need any of this digital noise. In fact, you need exactly what is hidden beneath it, or rather, what has been completely buried under the mountain of information trash we consume every single day, whether we want to or not. What is it that actually drives us to endlessly scroll and search? Is it truly just that cheap junk dopamine hit? Or a simple internet addiction that every self-proclaimed guru loves to sneer about? I don't buy it. I refuse to believe it. I believe in a human being created not by a fast fashion brand, but by the divine. What if this isn't some low animal consumer instinct at all, but an unspoken subconscious urge to find oneself in other people's tastes, in their ideas, in a stranger's beautiful lifestyle, or in a beautifully directed storyline of a life that isn't ours? You know how it looks. The perfect car, the cozy candlelit interior, the flawless outfits, the cinematic milestones of someone else's days. And so, while I watch all of this, convinced that I'm a tireless explorer searching for my true direction, definitely not a clueless bystander, mind you, but a noble seeker spending a modest 4 hours a day looking for a better, more aesthetic version of myself, something else happens. Accidentally, while completely losing myself in someone else's movie, I quietly misplace my own life. It's like sitting in a dark, captivating cinema. You find yourself right in the center of the plot, completely surrounded by characters and intense action, without ever having to leave the comfort of your seat. It's a very strange, bittersweet sensation, Everything around you is artificial, the scenery, the plot, the strangers, the time and the place. Yet the emotions flaring up inside you are completely painfully real. The laughter, the tears, the anxiety, the sudden urge to punch a villain, the second-hand embarrassment, and even a strange kind of love. You thought you were just observing, but it turns out you actually lived that life for a brief moment. And then you clicked and instantly switched to another. Video after video, reel after shot, shot after reel, that's how life passes by. My life passes by. While I remain perfectly still, sitting or lying down, staring blankly into a glowing screen. Then, of course, my clever, sneaky little ego steps in with a comforting lie. Oh, this isn't laziness or procrastination. This is a highly efficient, legally approved way to relax and pass the time. It's not cheap dopamine. It's a brilliant hack to save time and money while staying connected, cultured, and relevant. I'm developing myself. I'm visualizing, manifesting, and creating my dream life. Time ticks away, but for some reason the observer never becomes the observed. Why? Because the observer has nothing to look at her own reality. Nothing is happening. On top of that, I get this distinct feeling that my battery is dying. Not my phone's battery, mine. The battery of the person who is still waiting on the sidelines, completely unable to start living at full capacity. In observation mode, your power quietly drains. It only recharges when you actually step onto the field and live. But we've forgotten how to live. I know many of you understand exactly what I mean, both about the dying battery and the Groundhog Day feeling where nothing is new and nothing moves. I first caught myself in this trap 20 years ago. Back then, social media weren't so popular. We used to watch full-length films and actually walk to a cinema. Everything was slower, quieter, and deeper compared to today. Though at the time we still complained that the world was too loud, too fast, and deeply superficial. One evening, I looked out the window of my endless concrete megacity and saw my life through completely different eyes. I suddenly saw it clearly. There was the city, and here was I. What I had proudly called my life was just emptiness, an illusion behind a pane of glass. The city had everything: traffic, crowds, motion, bright neon lights, events, and even patches of nature. But I was here, on this side of the glass. And I realized that if I were suddenly vanish from that whirlwind for some reason, which funny story actually happened later, but that's a tale for another day, it wouldn't matter to that massive wheel of chaos at all. There is only one life that matters, and it is right here where I'm standing. I had to stop watching this mesmerizing spectacle simply because it was distracting me from what was most important, my own existence. At that moment, I was reading a book by a man who had once been sentenced to death. The execution was called off literally minutes before the firing squad could open fire. Fyodor Dostoevsky wrote these lines in The Idiot, reflecting his own raw thoughts in those horrific final moments. What if I didn't have to die? What if I could get my life back? What an infinity! And it would be all mine. I would turn every minute into a century. I would lose nothing. I would count every second. I would never waste anything again. I would love to tell you that after that monumental epiphany, I never scrolled through my feed again or wasted a second looking at other people's life. But that would be a complete lie. As I mentioned, I didn't even have a smartphone back then, when the digital world finally arrived. I happily dove headfirst into it, draining my battery like everyone else. Until I stumbled upon Dostoevsky again. He appeared in my feed between a video of someone baking a stunning cake in 15 minutes and a video of a woman losing 15 pounds in 15 days before her vacation in Sri Lanka. I walked back to the exact same window. I looked out, and superficially nothing had changed. The same megacity, the same traffic, the same neon lights, the same noise, but real life had shrunk. Trees had been replaced by massive billboards featuring fake smiles from fake people. That was the day I made a decision. If I'm going to scroll, I will only look at things that charge my battery. Granted, I still stumble. I still accidentally face plant into those 15-minute miracle cakes more often than I'd care to admit. But when I do, I remember Dostoevsky. He lost his way plenty of times too, regularly finding himself in casinos, staring hypnotically at the spinning roulette wheel. Yet he still carved out the space for his own life, his art, and his truth. He created so much profound life that the world is still watching and reading it centuries later. If we are going to be an audience to anything, let it be to something genuinely real, messy and alive, right?